Well, it was the game of two halves. The Crows fought bravely in that first two quarters, but ultimately it was the top of the table Swans who showed their class tonight, winning by 42 points in the end. Welcome to Crows Live. I'm your host, Monique van der Hayden. Tonight we'll be answering your questions that you've sent through in on our text line and taking through everything that's just gone down at Adelaide Oval. In a moment, we'll be taking a look at the boys walking off from Adelaide Oval tonight, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of disappointed faces. Here they are now. Plenty of disappointed faces there on the boys after that second half, but they will be taking some confidence out of what they were able to pull off in those first two quarters tonight. Nick's has always been saying that their game plan is focused around contested pressure, and they were bringing that from that very first bounce tonight. The Swans stars, if you're looking at Heaney, Warner and Goulden, the first two quarters they were barely able to move the ball. As soon as the ball got near them, there was like 3 or 4 Crows players were swarming towards them, and Swans, they were able to stop down their run, stop them from moving the ball in those first two quarters, and that allowed them to be up at half time, gave them that glimmer of hope. But in the end, the Swans were just able to get the job done, as they've done many a times this year. Question here from Alyssa on the text line. We were better, but yet another loss. And I can see your disappointment there, Alyssa, and it's understandable, but it is a young side. And something that we do need to keep remembering, but what they were able to pull off tonight was the game plan that Nick's has been asking them to do a number of times throughout the year, and hopefully we can bring some confidence out of that first half and hopefully bring that forward after the bye. Another question there from Josh. The Swans were scary good. They are, Josh, and there's a reason why they're top of the table, and I think they're at least 3 or 4 wins clear now on top of the table there as well. So a huge threat for the rest of the season, and unfortunately, I do think we need to play them again towards the end of the year as well. But we're going to head straight down into the rooms now. We've got Adam and Kelly there waiting to speak with us.
So Adam, it was an impressive fight for 2.5 quarters, but unfortunately momentum shifted late in the third, and Sydney were able to put on 8 goals. Can you talk us through what Nixie had said post-game?
Yeah, look, we have to be pleased somewhat with that, particularly that first 2.5 quarters, but at the end of the day, when the best team in the competition really stepped up the fight and put us under pressure, we were just a bit overwhelmed through the latter part of the third quarter and then going into the fourth. So, it's good learning for us playing against the best team in the comp, and we've got to be able to stand up for longer, and they were just too good for us.
Can you talk about the key learnings? I guess the momentum has shifted over the past fortnight or so. What can the boys be doing to stop leaking those goals?
Yeah, look, there's some of this. I think we need to acknowledge the difference in experience. We had 11 players out there tonight who played less than 50 games against an opponent that only had the 2. I think we gave up over 1,300 games of experience to the opposition, and they're a very good team. So we do have to acknowledge that right here, right now, our team is a little bit younger, just with some player availability and some of those senior players not being in the team. So they'll learn and grow from that. But yeah, we obviously know we've got to be better, and we've got to be in games for longer to give ourselves a chance. But there were some positive signs tonight.
And Nick Murray back, I think he had 11 spoils and certainly looked at times that he hadn't missed a beat. He's going to be a big part of the later part of the year for the club. Yeah,
well, as we come to know with Muzz last year, he's one of our very best key defenders, and for those who get the pleasure of seeing him go to work with his rehabilitation and how much he's put into that, he has come back a bigger and stronger version. So we're really positive about what he's going to be able to do for us. It's nice to see him get a game under his belt. He's going to be better for it, and we look forward to what he can do after the bye.
And we talk about the bye. The boys will go on a 4 or 5 day break. What do you think we can get out of as a footy club moving into Giants and Brisbane?
Yeah, I think most importantly, the ability to recuperate. We've played 14 games straight. There have been others that have had byes, and sometimes multiple byes before we've had our first. So we need a bit of a spell. So that's the most important thing we'll get out of the break. Once we get the players back next Thursday, it's the opportunity to reflect on season to date. Obviously have a good look at what happened tonight, and particularly what happened later in the game. But yeah, we lick our wounds a little bit and reflect on season to date.
And fans are asking the question, when will we see Riley Thilthorpe back?
Riley's only a few weeks away, so he's upped his training. He's getting more involved in main training sessions. it's hard not to get excited. He looks amazing. And again, to our high performance and medical team, they do a wonderful job with players in rehabilitation. So we're pretty positive, as we've seen with Schomburg and as we've seen with Nick Murray, that once they get back onto the park, he'll be somewhere near his best. So, yeah, very excited about what role he might be able to do later in the year.
And also fans, when will Taylor Walker be back? Obviously he's had that back issue earlier in the season and then it flared up a couple of weeks ago. Is it just giving him the rest that he needs to really come back and perform strongly in the back half of the season? Yeah,
we expect Taylor to be available post-bye. Couldn't quite get up in time for this game, but yeah, we'd expect him back after the bye.
Awesome, thanks girls.
Some exciting prospects there. Riley Thilthorpe apparently looking really, really good there, according to Adam Kelly. Obviously, so exciting pre-season, and unfortunately that injury heading into the season has kept him out so far this year. But having him back and potentially Taylor Walker back in the second half of this year, it's going to be interesting to see how the team gets switched up and what they can do to the game plan for Nixie there as well. Question here from Holly that's come through on the text line. Amadi is the new buddy. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far just yet, but he was phenomenal. 9 goals in the end. Would have loved to have seen him to get to that 10th goal. I think the crowd stuck around in hopes of even just potentially seeing that get across the line. But most of Sydney's goals and goal opportunities tonight just came from some breakdowns in the defensive structure. We saw Heaney at one point, I believe in the third quarter, walk into the forward pocket and was easily kicked to him from Papley, and he slotted the goal back. And you just can't give a team like Sydney that much space. And once they were able to get on that 9 or 10 goal run, the confidence and the composure for some of those younger players did drop off. And in the end, they ended up with 51 clearances to 31. So that's just them just winning the ball in the middle and getting the ball forward. But that first half is one that we'll touch on tonight. Let's take a look at some of those first highlights now.
Can they get a contested mark? Fogarty, bodies crashing in, and somehow he's marked that. Darcy Fogarty. Incredible. Had a good patch, Darcy Fogarty, 13-3 in his last 5 weeks for the first goal of Saturday night footy. That's what the Crows wanted. Campbell back there, but it's all under serious pressure, so he just has to sky it, and Rochelle, brilliant mark. He's a serious talent, Josh Rochelle.
Whereas it was all on the back of pressure deep inside 50.
Signed on with the Crows right through to the end of 2029. Been able to steer that through. What a start for the Crows.
Wheels and sends a long left footer. Grundy's in the pack, almost took the mark at ground level, where he's also very good, but he gives it to Scholl. Scholl gets through. The heavy traffic goes for goal. They're not embracing the challenge. They're presenting the challenge.
It's been the perfect start for Adelaide. You can see this long ball in and just their ability to work this to the outside. And when Lockie Scholl just lines this up, they've been able to just have 22 kicks and just the 4 handballs in this opening stage, so you can just see the way that
Rankin back Saligo, nice clearance win to Laird. They're having some good stoppage success early, the Crows. Blakey with the spoil, some pressure from the Crows again, picked up by Dowling, did well to get it to Dawson, and the captain's got goal number 4 in the first term.
He kicks a team-lifting goal. They've had 5 inside 50s for 4 goals, Jude.
incredible efficiency going forward. And
comes up with a big play and dropping into a little hole is Saligo. Has played on. It was not without risk, but could not be in better hands now than Isaac Rankin.
Well, that's what you want from Sligo, isn't it? You don't just want him just following the superstars of the Swans around, Bolt.
Jordan Dawson, after laying that strong tackle, just to lower his eyes and not blaze away inside forward 50. Brilliant stuff.
20 goals in his 10 games, Isaac Rankin, prior to a 3-week layoff with a hamstring. This would be superb for the Adelaide Crows. Welcome back, Isaac Rankin.
And here's the strong tackle on Errol Goulden from Jordan Dawson. Outstanding effort. You can see the scores from turnover. 3 goals won. That would please Matthew Nicks no end. Just the effort to score on the back of it.
takes possession. Murphy's got an option inside 50, and ball ace in the pocket takes the mark.
Adelaide Crows is the thing that would be most pleasing. Rankin with a touch of brilliance. Got his second. The Crows are on. Huge pack forward of the footy. Strong. Nearly took the mark. Rochelle boots a ball through the hands of Cook, and then he got a boot to it, and he's got it, Braden Cook.
Well, the Crows have built some pressure on the back of repeat stoppages with long kick in from Butts. But you can see Cook just as quick as a flash. Outstanding to jump onto that loose ball and get his toe to it. The 7th goal for the Crows.
Some electric moments in that first half, and 2 of them came from Isaac Rankin, who is back from his hamstring injury they picked up in that Collingwood game, and he brings us so much class and polish to this Adelaide side. It completely switches up the profile of the entire team, and there's good reason for it. What he does with the ball is fantastic. He can make a goal out of nothing. It's like he's plucking them from thin air. And he was the #1 player for damage from ball use in the comp for his last 6 games. So there's no question here that he's definitely an All-Australian contention for later this year if he can keep up this form. And what was just fantastic to see from him tonight was his ability to lift up the entire side, especially in that first half, in particular the younger players. It's something that we have been calling for all season, to not be relying on your Tex Walkers, on your Jordan Dawsons as much, to see people like Rochelle step up and take that fantastic contested mark in the first quarter, go back and slot that goal. We saw their Lockie Shoal as well, weaving through traffic and kicking a sneaky goal in that first quarter as well. So fantastic efforts we're seeing from those younger players finally starting to step up. Question from Rory: what did you think of Nick Murray's return? Obviously, one of the biggest news stories heading into this week was Murray finally coming back from a year off with an ACL injury. You never like to see a player come out for stay out of the game for as long as he has had to, but he came in and he had some rusty moments, as you'd expect after 12 months out of the game, but he added a sense of stability to the back line. And it's going to be exciting to see when we get a few more players back in, like Tex, like Theo Thorpe, and we can see players Michael Laney come back to play down in defence, to see how the team can come together, especially down back. But we're going to speak to Nick and his brother Toby, who have been down the rooms, happy enough to speak with us today.
Came back in over 300 days. How'd you feel out there?
Yeah, it felt really good. Obviously, had a bit of exposure to Sam for the last couple of weeks, but to be able to be back out there on the AFL field, it was very pleasing.
Can you talk to us about your return through the SANFL and what you had to do and show with limited time and game time, and then back tonight?
Yeah, obviously I felt pretty good at about 8 months, and then I had to hold on to that 10-month mark just to give the knee time to heal, and then I sort of had 2 weeks in the SANFL, a bit of a lead up. I played 75% in my first game, and then I was able to play 90% in the second game to obviously put myself in contention for the AFL this week.
And Toby, you've been watching his ACL rehabilitation, and now you found yourself on the list. How awesome is it to be a Crow?
Yeah, pretty great. Obviously not many people get to play alongside their brother, so for it to happen this year is pretty special, and then for him to come back today and went about it the way he did is very special.
Can you talk us a little bit about his malicious in his ACL rehab, getting back, post 8 months? Did you see him work really hard? Yeah, he did all the right things and extra, so I was very, very pleased to see the way he went about it, and obviously it's paid off. And Muzz, really disappointing tonight. I thought in the first 3 quarters really put a fight. There was pressure on the footy, but just weren't able to capitalise and hold him on. I think we led him into 8 red time goals. Is that something you spoke about in the team meeting post-match?
Yeah, we did. Obviously, we're in the fight for that 2.5 quarters, and then there was a couple of moments late in that third where, we didn't execute, and then we obviously give that silly free kick away, and that really ignited them, and they are the best team in the competition, so if you give them opportunities, they're obviously going to make the most of it.
And you talk about that momentum shift. What can you as players do to try and not let that momentum swing?
We spoke about just getting back to our mindset. There's a couple of times where we might have lost our cool, and if we can just get back to sort of how we play and what we do, that's going to hold us in good stead going forward.
And with the bye coming up, you got Brisbane and Giants. What does the next 2 weeks look like for the group?
Obviously this week, the boys will get away, refresh, and then we'll look to attack the Giants. You know, as I said, we've played some really good footy, and we showed signs tonight that we can compete with the best teams. I think Tex will be back after the bye. Riley Fields on not bad away, a couple of handy inclusions. So look forward to those boys getting back and really, you know, making the most of this second half of the year.
Awesome, thanks Muzz. And Toby.
Nick and Toby there, and as he said, it's not often that you get to see two brothers play on the same side, so hopefully one day we might actually get to see them both get out and play on field together. And he mentioned there that they will be taking some confidence from here, and thankfully we do have the bye coming up next week, so they can go back and reset and see how they will approach the second half of this year. But definitely some good things to take out of that first half, but we're going to take a look now at the second half and see how that played out now.
Will be rewarded. Sensational tackle from Rory there. That's the defensive attributes that Matthew needs to be calling for.
Hard to fault the effort from the Crows. Fogarty is being a really dangerous target all night.
Thank you. Jump out, Jordan. Jump out.
That was a strong mark. The boy from Lucendale, southeast South Australia, multiple goals in the last 6 weeks. For his second of the night, Darcy Fogarty's got it.
It's a bit happening off the ball as well.
Hey,
He's just able to absorb the pressure and then execute a kick. Yeah, it's about 12 metres. But they'll take it.
As you said a moment ago, taking your opportunities against the Sydney Swans couldn't be more important, and Jake Saligo does exactly that.
Just standing up in the tackle from Hamill, just to lower his eyes. Was it a distance? Probably not, but go back and capitalise on the good effort.
Even looking back at those second half highlights, well into the third quarter, they were playing with so much composure and so much confidence. It's fantastic to see that the work that has been building over so far this season is finally coming to fruition. Now he's got to pull it together and hopefully get it across the line for 4 quarters. But obviously the Sanford boys did also play today, played against the Eagles, sadly lost by 53 points. I've got a question here from Braden though. Do we think that we'll see Zach Taylor after the bye? And I think you might be onto something there, Braden, because he had a fantastic game in the Sanford today. 26 disposals from him and a goal. So he's definitely been proving himself throughout this season. Still with a few more injuries floating around in that AFL side. He might just find some space to make his AFL debut. But another person who was meant to play in the Sanford today was Brodie Smith. Now, he didn't end up taking to the field today. We do understand that he has had a knee injury and he will be heading along to get some scans this week. So this injury is coming out from just training throughout this week. Didn't happen in the game, but we'll be keeping an eye on that and hopefully get a few more information on that in the next 24 to 48 hours or so. But that's about all we have time for on Crows Live tonight. If you do want some more Crows content as we head into this next week's bye, and don't forget you can check out the Crows Show, which will be running tomorrow at 1 p.m. on 7. Thank you so much for your company tonight.
Were you there to see the sweat?
Were you there to hear the rise?
Were you there to taste the victory?
Were you there to feel the pride?
Together, we're stronger. Be there in 2024.